welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I am back again with another video. Today, I am going to be talking about some Christmas novellas that I read and am recommending for, if you're looking for something, with a festive theme or something, to read around this time of year to put you in the holiday spirit. Now, obviously, these are not Hallmark books that I'm about to talk about. They are Christmas themed and they take place during the Christmas holidays, but let me just tell you what they're about. Okay, so the first one is called Santa's Helper by Shay Sanders. Santa's Helper. And basically it's about a man and a woman who dated in high school, and I think they went on a couple of dates, and his dad was always like played the mall Santa, like he did that for the mall or whatever for the community, and this is like a Black romance book. Let me back up. So and for those of you who don't know, it's kind of hard during the holidays to find Santas that are Black. Like if you're a family, an African-American family or a Black family that wants to have your children take pictures with a Black Santa. And let me just stop here, because here's the thing. As Santa, kids, turn away, cover your children's ears. Santa's not real. So before anybody thinks, oh, well, you have this depiction of a Santa in your mind of what Santa looks like. No, Santa needs to represent the children that, believe in him. So there are people that prefer to have their children, if they're going to even do that whole fictional thing, they're going to, be looking for maybe a Black Santa, most Black families. So anyway, the guy's dad, played the mall Santa, the Black Santa, and she would always go out of her way, like to go to that particular mall to see him and, to get her a picture with Santa, even though like she was a teenager or an adult or whatever. Well, fast forward now, like 20 years, she is taking her children, her two kids, little kids, to that mall, and, to see him because she hasn't seen him in a while. Well, the guy who she dated in high school, he's there because turns out like his dad has passed away and he's kind of like taken over and, his dad's role or whatever, as Santa. So that's where they reconnect, is at the mall. And obviously, like I said, this is a novella. All four of the books I'm going to talk about today are novellas. So it's short. It's at 93 pages. But I feel like there was enough like backstory that you didn't feel like it was stuff missing, from the whole thing. I mean, you know what you're getting when you go into a novella. It's going to be quick, fast paced, perhaps a feel good or something like that. But it's not something, if you're looking for like this drawn out plot or character arcs and all that kind of thing. Now I will tell you, this is a little steamy one, because he has an assistant that helps him. The guy has an assistant that helps him, and she like plays Mrs. Claus. She gets sick. So the woman in the story, her kids, like I said, she's newly divorced and her kids are spending the holidays with her ex. So she's by herself. And when he like kind of mentions, yeah, I got to, deal with all this myself, she volunteers and she goes out to help him. And they end up, having a moment, a night or a day or whatever. And they go home and I can't remember whose place they were at, but they spend the night together or whatever, and they realize that they have attraction to each other and kind of want to see where things go. So it's a very much an insta love type thing, but also like a little feel good story, because there is mention of his father and family. It's not just like, oh, we're just doing steam for the sake of steam, but you gotta move things along because it's such a short story. So things to know: that it is a romance story, Black characters, it's steamy, insta love, and it does talk about grief and loss. So If you're struggling with that this holiday season, maybe skip this one, because like I said, his dad passed away. The holiday vibes that you get, being in a crowded mall, shopping during the holidays, going to see Santa at the mall, and taking those photos. And then they have like a little gift exchange between the two of them. So there you have it. Santa's Helper, Shay Sanders is one. The next one, it's called The Night Before by Jacinta Howard. And this one starts off, there's a woman at a Christmas party, and it's like at somebody's house or whatever. And she went with her cousin, and it's just not her scene. It's obvious that she just went because her cousin begged her to go or whatever. And she's there reading at the party. And this guy like notices it, goes over, and he's like talking to her, and she's annoyed, obviously, but then he like uses her name, and she's like, do I know you or whatever? And they had gone to high school together, but he was like 4 years ahead of her. So like he was a senior when she was a freshman. So they didn't really move around the same circles, but he knew her. 6 degrees of separation. They had like some of the same friends. He had younger siblings and that kind of thing. So anyway, they talk during the party, and what is pretty cool is that he had read the book that she's reading. So they were like, having a conversation about that. They had a little dance. And then, due to something that happened with her mom's boyfriend, she ended up trying to go home, and he has to come, this guy that she, reconnected with at the party, or met for the first time, technically, he comes to save her from an incident where her car stalls out, on the road, and she goes over and meets his family and all that, because there's a power outage. So it's just all the things that, snowball effect, where that puts them in the same proximity and the same room. So just like the story before, this one has some steamy elements. There's some family drama. It's a little mess or whatever, but it all works out, in the end. But I will tell you, warning on this before I give the stats or whatever. This was supposed to be like a little duet. So this one was called The Night Before, and it like takes place the night before Christmas, and then like Christmas morning. We were supposed to fast forward, because in the story it does fast forward to New Year's Eve, and then we were supposed to get a story because this one's told from the woman's point of view, and then there was supposed to be a book called The Day After, which was supposed to be from the guy's point of view, and the author has like a snippet of it on her website. And it doesn't look like there's any plans to finish it, because I think this story is at least 5 years old, if not older. So be forewarned. I mean, I feel like it ended on a note where, you could like kind of make up what happens next, but it would have been nice to be able to get his point of view and, kind of finish it out. I hate when authors do that. And I didn't know that going in, but yeah. I still think that it's worth the read, but just be forewarned if you are looking for more or some closure. So anyway, this one is 127 pages, so a little bit longer than the other one, but still a novella. It's not like a full-length story. A romance story, Black character, steamy, insta-love. The vibes, it's snowing. There's family and friend gatherings. They talk about the decorations, the Christmas trees, what stuff looks like, the lights on houses. So it gives you all those vibes. Okay, the next one, now we're hopping over to something a little bit different, okay? The Gift by Frida McFadden. And I have such a love-hate thing with Frida McFadden. I mean, I've had some hits with her and quite a few misses. But this one, I feel like, ironically, it's the shortest story, and I feel like it was one of the better ones. So it opens up, there's a woman working a shift at a diner on Christmas Eve. And but this is like her second job, but she's like having problems making ends meet. She's married, and I think they've been married for like a year, but she has a job where she teaches preschool during the day. That's her other job. But her husband is in law school. And so she's taking on the responsibility of all the bills and everything. And they've just been kind of, like penny pinching and everything like that. And her coworker, they're like waiting for the last two people like to leave the diner so they can go home, when she gets a message from her husband saying, oh, and we can, do gift exchange or whatever tonight when you get home. And she's like, gift exchange? I thought we weren't getting gifts. So now she feels the pressure of having to get a gift, hence the title, The Gift. And one of the people in the diner is a weird lady who has a shop. And apparently she was ear hustling and overheard the woman and like tells her, I got something for you. You could come to my shop and get it. So the waitress obviously goes there because, she's like, I got to go home with something. This dude wants to exchange gifts. But speaking of exchange, it's like, she didn't really have any money. And so the lady's like, there's something like, I'll exchange to give you this gift. A gift which she thought was the perfect gift. And it's very... it sounded like a very sentimental gift and something to complement something that her husband had already. So she makes this exchange. I'm not going to tell you what the exchange was. But long story short, in this short story, it doesn't go the way that she thought it was going to go. And her husband is like a total asshole and isn't nearly as appreciative. And his gift was some bullshit that he got for her. And it just led to... an altercation. Keep in mind, this is a Frida McFadden book, so do with that what you will. But she goes back to the store the next day because she wants to get something for herself this time, and she has something that she wants to trade. But the way, like at the very end, when you realize who this woman was and what was really going on, like with her husband, it was crazy that Frida McFadden was able to put all this in such a short ass story. I mean, kudos, Frida. Like this one was good. This was a good short story. Like I said, it's only 42 pages, or I don't know if I mentioned that. It's only 42 pages. It's short. So, but it's like a mystery suspense type thing, which, that's her genre. The vibes for the holiday is like snow. It's Christmas Eve. There's a gift exchange. So yeah, I would highly, if you don't read any of these stories, read that one. If you're, just if you want something fast and a little jaw-dropping that has a little Christmassy vibes. I don't know if it's going to put you in the Christmas spirit, but it may like, what is the word that I'm looking for? It may make you rethink your priorities and focusing so much on giving gifts. Okay, the last one, again, so we're still on the side, like type of books that Frida writes. Okay, this novella is called The Kill Clause, okay, by Lisa Unger. And this one, this one might need a trigger warning. This one involves a female assassin, and she works for this company, or this organization rather. How I always thought it was interesting how when those assassins work for organizations who determine which people should be targeted, and it's always like self-interest, right? It's never anything like real, like that makes any sense. It's like, it's not like, oh, they killed a bunch of people and they did, it's just maybe a power player that they want removed off the chessboard. Anyway, so she breaks into a house at night because she has a target that she's supposed to dispose of or dispatch. That's what the assassins say, dispatch of. And his daughter is there, and she's only like 8 years old. And so this female assassin, we get kind of like a flashback. She had something happen to her when she was around that age, and she's just like, I ain't doing it. I'm not gonna unalive this man for his daughter to find, and I'm definitely not gonna touch her. So she, lets the people know, hey, this is going to have to be a redo. Because she's done a lot of recon and was in this man's life and, very detailed stuff. But she got some bad intel because the little girl was supposed to be with her mom, but she was there. So she's like, I'm going to do a redo. Well, the problem is her, organization, they frown up on redos. You failed. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. And there's consequences for that. So she knows that, but she's hoping that because she thinks she's the favorite of the woman who runs the organization, that she'll be okay. So she goes home, and then we get these flashbacks because somebody is calling her, and she's referring to him as the asshole, and it turns out it's like her ex-husband, and she keeps ignoring his calls, and we get a flashback as to when they first met. He's also an assassin. Okay, so they met on a job in Vegas, and it was, I guess, love at first sight or whatever. But then they realized in the line of work that they're in it's not really feasible to have a healthy relationship. So anyway, as the story goes on, like I said, she failed. There's consequences, and it's time to to pay up. But she's moving along because she goes in there acting like, okay, fine, and go back and try to do it again. But when she goes again to try to redo it, this time she goes in, a knock on the door, and goes into the house because he knows her, because like I said, she's done recon, and she's knows his schedule, and he thinks she's somebody else, but the little girl is still there. So she already knows this is it for me, because I'm still not doing it, and I can't have another redo. I know that they're going to send somebody for me. Sure enough, they do. But somebody comes to her, aid. And then there's like a chase, and it's crazy what this author also was able to do with such a short story. I feel like these stories, they didn't give you maybe the romance and the love feels of the holidays, but I feel like they gave you a lot more closure and detail than the romance stories, which the romance stories were still good, but I guess because I've been on a what is it, like a run with the mystery suspense, I'm just leaning more towards those in this particular set of stories. But the kill clause, the title, it refers to terminating any assassin who doesn't complete a job. But I could also see how they're maybe trying to use like clause, like Santa Claus, like maybe a play on words. I don't know. But anyway, there's a happily ever after with this one. You can believe that. It is only 70 pages long, okay? And it's definitely a thriller, cat and mouse type thing. A trigger warning, like there's pretty explicit details about a couple of the unalivings, that happen, right? And the vibes, there's Christmas decor, there's snow, there's a cabin in the woods, and all those things. But again, I don't know how Christmassy you might find it. It's just like set during the holidays, but I enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to have to check out more of Lisa Unger's books. I don't think I've ever read anything by her. And if she can do what she did in this short story in a full-length novel, I am definitely intrigued. But yeah, so those are the 4 Christmas-themed novellas that I read this holiday season that I do recommend if you're, just looking for something that has a Christmas backdrop or a Christmas vibe. If you have read any of the novellas I mentioned, let me know in the comments which were your favorite. And if you have any recommendations, I have a little time on my hands. I can maybe sneak in a couple of more. Put those recommendations in the comments as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video. And next week will be my last regularly scheduled video for 2025. So what you should probably do is go ahead and subscribe to my channel now, so that you can have that out of the way. You can have it out of the way, and you don't have to come back and look at an old video, and remember to subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button now and turn that post notification bell so you'll get notified when I return in 2026. Thanks. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.